Yo, so I'm just gonna go through my Friday tape reading slash paper trade that I took. So I'm looking at Nasdaq and the S&P 500, and I was looking at shorts for Nasdaq mostly. My bias is short overall on like the daily or like the higher time frame, and also long for dollar, which obviously correlates with trading lower for the S&P and Nasdaq. So as you see, Nasdaq runs into a daily volume imbalance. The two lines, the red lines above. And yes, I wanted to wait for displacement, and it drops like a drop lower, and to get into a fair value gap, which is silver bullet. So just keeping it quite simple. If you look at the S&P, S&P is running higher, which we don't want. We don't want that. We want it to correlate together, which makes it like a low resistance liquidity run. But yeah, you see there, Nasdaq makes a higher low, whilst the S&P makes a higher high, which is S&T divergence, and then Nasdaq displaces, and then leaves a fair value gap, which is a nice silver bullet. So yeah, the entry literally could have just been at the low of the fair value gap. I tried to get it quite neat and have it on the breaker, which I thought maybe price want to reach into the breaker, but literally you can have your entry at the fair value gap. So I missed that entry. If you look to the right, the S&P is bouncing on the daily volume imbalance, which I wasn't I was still confident in the trade, but I'd prefer it for it to break lower, and once it's trading lower than that, the daily volume imbalance, I'll be happy for that to keep going lower. So yeah, once the S&P does break lower, you'll see in a second, then I was more confident you can even get into another pyramid, or you can, if you've missed the first entry, then get in again. So yeah, the first target is at sell side liquidity for Nasdaq, and there's another fair value gap which I think I try and put an entry there, but it doesn't get into again. But yeah, just keep it really simple. Go for fair value gaps. Look for the draw liquidity. Silver bullet is really good. Match it with your higher time frames as well. Yeah, you don't really need to overcomplicate things. I got a bit unlucky again, but I would have been happy with that first entry. That first entry there, if you have your stops just above that, there's a candle which made the inefficiency, the high. That's literally a really nice trade, like a 3-to-1, 4-to-1. That could literally be a week, depending on how like regularly you want to trade and what sort of person you are in trading. So now I started thinking, okay, so the Nasdaq's fallen, and the S&P hasn't really dropped yet. So I was like, okay, haven't got into Nasdaq, potentially could get into a trade for the S&P. So I'll just being more patient. The S&P just runs buy side there quickly, and then taps back into the inefficiency on the right, as you'll see in a second. And then also the Nasdaq ran the buy side there, a little bit higher, that little higher there, so just ran the buy side. People who put their stops a little bit too early just got ran higher. And then yeah, there's displacement for the S&P in a second. Yeah, I'm watching it on like a quite small screen, so I can't read the writing that I've typed either. But if you pause the video, if you want to pause the video, I'm typing it out as well. That purple box on the left that I put on, that's a bearish breaker, and look how price respected the bearish breaker. So for that was more confidence for a confidence for me to enter on the S&P, because if Nasdaq's going to go lower, the S&P should follow. It made a fair value gap inside the daily volume imbalance, and if you see how price closes, it closes perfectly below the high of the daily volume imbalance, which is algorithmic, and even more confidence that's like it's in like a sell program. So yeah, I sold there, literally already like a 3-to-1, which is in and out in like 5 minutes. That's perfect. Again, it's just a paper trade. I should have just I would have took profit there anyway. But I just wanted to see if it ran lower. But yeah, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe, and yeah, comment if you got any questions or anything.